Yes. Okay, mi gente. Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. Who am I? I'm your favorite pain in the ass Jen. All right. From the Bronx, New York. Even though Mama's on the West Coast now, but I'm New York everywhere I go. Good to see you guys. Happy Monday. I hope your Monday was good to you. And if it wasn't, if today was a shitty day for you, there's always tomorrow. Okay? The sun sets and rises. So what? You could try again. Okay? So I'm hoping maybe I make you smile if you had a shitty day or if you had an amazing day. You want to keep it going with me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let's take care of business really quickly. I am on the block with Jen on TikTok, on the block with Jen on Instagram, on the block with Jen on Facebook, on the block with Jen at gmail.com. If you have an idea for me or you want to collab, you know how I feel about collaborations. I'm not going to collab with everybody. It has to be worth it. And it has to be beneficial to both you and me, okay? And if it's not beneficial to me, it at least has to be interesting. I'll make an exception if you want to collab with me and you have a very interesting topic, okay? So welcome, guys. I am glad you are here. Really good to see you. I hope you enjoyed my last stream. It was really, really good. I got a lot of good feedback, and I appreciate you guys for leaving the comments and listening to it and listening to me and taking me, the way I present myself. What you see is what you get. I'm glad to see you guys. Speaking of topics and hitting me at my Gmail for topics, tonight's topic, okay, was brought to my attention by one of my very good panelists and friends, Haran DeMarco. Like I said, if you guys have a good topic, I am willing to dissect it. I can always add my experience to it. I have a lot of experience, okay, in this particular subject. So it's going to be interesting. I hope we can learn some things tonight, and please feel free to rebut and give us your opinions in the chat. As you know, some of these conversations may be triggering. You know how I feel about that. Walk it off, hang out, Try not to argue with people in the chat. Realize that your opinion is not the only opinion on the motherfucking planet, nor is mine, nor is Haran's. We are all speaking from our own experiences, and our experiences are very, very dynamic and individual. My experience is not yours. So when I say something, you can say, I have this for you. It may not apply to you, but it applies to me. And what applies to you may not apply to me, but it doesn't mean we can't meet in the middle and say, okay, well, you went through that, I didn't, vice versa. So tonight, are Black men looking to be mothered by their mates? Now, there's a second part to our Black men looking to be mothered by their mates. Okay? Do the mates that Black men choose, are they mothering them? Are they treating them like their sons? Right? So we're going to get deep tonight with this. It's not just one side, okay? So this is going to be really, really interesting. Haran DeMarco and I have a lot of behind the scenes conversations about the panels and just different, gender wars and things like that. And he had a conversation with me the other day, and just a light bulb went over my head. And I was like, I think this is going to be good to share with the masses. It's a great conversation because it's something that I've noticed as well, and something that I've experienced firsthand. So, I'm always sharing my experiences with you guys because, they're interesting, and I learned a lot from them. And I'm sure the same with you guys. All right, guys, so let's get into it because it's Monday. You guys have probably had a long day. Monday is not the best day of the week. You probably want to lay down and go to sleep. So I want to get right into it. Otherwise, I'd kick it with y'all and shoot the shit if it was the weekend. But it's Monday, and I think this is going to be a good topic, and I want to give it to you guys quickly, straight, no chaser. I want to say something really quickly, right? You know how people talk. I got to address some of the bullshit, right? A lot of people are saying that I am filtered and I wear a lot of makeup. So today I wanted to let you guys know, okay, this is my face, because I'm hearing a lot about that, okay? So this is my face, all right? This is what I usually clean the screen with. So I'm cleaning the screen for y'all so you know what I mean? That there's no filter on here. You can't put a filter on StreamYard yet. This is for all the people that are really concerned about what I look like up close. And I'll just use this because I have a ton of them, because you guys know I have a ton of glasses. Here you go. See, I have no makeup on. I have no concealer. I have no powder. Now, mama likes some lips. Mama likes some lips. So I'm not going to wipe off my lip gloss. I hope that's okay with y'all, okay? But there seems to be this rumor that I wear a lot of makeup and I'm filtered. Here I am. Here's my face, okay? I am rubbing really hard. This is not a trick. This is not a magic trick, okay? I'll even rub with my fingers so you can see I'm rubbing with my fingers, okay? This is mama's face, all right? Absolutely no makeup. My eyebrows do not come off. So I just wanted to do that. And here's the thing. To my ladies that wear a lot of makeup, wear a lot of fucking makeup. It is your face. It is your life. Do not let anybody pull you off your square because you wear makeup, because what you put on your face is nobody's fucking business, okay? But I just wanted to make a point regarding me and what people are saying about me. And if I wore a lot of makeup, I'd fucking say I wore a lot of makeup, right? Because ain't nobody gonna do shit about it. I'm not gonna wipe off my lips because, you know, mama likes some lips. Even when I don't wear makeup, I like my lips on, okay? I'm all about the pout, right? But I just wanted to let you guys know that I don't wear a lot of makeup, and it's not because I don't necessarily like it. It's because I don't know how to fucking do it, okay? I'm not that girl. I don't know how to blend colors and contour, but I do like my mascara. I do like my lips, and I will do a little blush. But specifically for today's show, I didn't put anything but my lips. So, you know, to let people know, fuck y'all. Okay. Because people are always trying to diminish women in these spaces. Okay. So whether or not you wear makeup, fuck them. Okay. But I just wanted to prove a point tonight. Like I said, y'all ain't never seen nothing like me. Okay. I'm not going to back down or run away or cower from the bullshit that goes on in these spaces. And I hope in turn, I can empower women, okay, in these spaces. I am not a fucking feminist in any way, shape, or form, but I'm about, if I can say something about people that are getting abused, whether they're men, women, or children, I'm going to speak up, okay? And I see a lot of bullshit going on against women. So I'm speaking up about that particular subject, all right? So moving on with my no makeup and my lip gloss, okay? Just want to put that out there. What's up, Leon Wesley? All right, so let's get into this topic because I have so much to say about it. I have so much to say about it because I've experienced a lot about it. I'm going to bring up Haran DeMarco because he is the one that lit the light bulb over my head. He has experience with this as well. And I said, Haran, let's do this topic and let's share it with the people. Okay, let's share it with the people because I know mi gente is going to have a lot to say about this, okay? Now, I'm going to give you my experiences, but I may change some names. I may change some names to protect the privacy of some people in my past, okay? But you know how they do in books. I may change the name of the people in the, you know what I mean, in the story to protect their privacy, right? I'm not going to blast nobody, but I will be talking about my personal experiences, okay, with this in particular. So I am going to drop this link for Haran, but as you guys know, it's Monday. It's an easy night. Let's just chill. I just got back from the gym. I'm chilling. So I won't keep you guys too long, okay? I will not keep you guys too long. Haran, I dropped the link. Okay. What's up, Mr. McMillan? Good to see you, sir. Oh, Reese Week said, where are the problems in your own community? Thanks for reminding me. While we waiting for Haran, yes, honey, the Ricans are in the news this week. The Ricans are in the news this week. First and foremost, Ricky Martin, the cousin. You guys are hearing a lot of sound bites about that case, okay? So let me brief you really quickly. Ricky Martin, okay, is being accused by his 21-year-old nephew. But the way they're wording it and the way the memes are being thrown out, they're like, they're trying to make it sound like he's a child. The nephew is 21 years old and is claiming that he had a 7-month relationship with Ricky Martin. Okay, the nephew, the 21-year-old nephew of Ricky Martin is saying, hey, him and I had a 7-month relationship and I wanted to break it off and then he beat me up. right? So that's what Ricky Martin is being accused of. So I've been following the story. I'm not one to convict. I'm not going to be like, oh, he's guilty. I'm not one to convict until I have all the details, and then it's straight to the guillotine. But until I know, I'm not going to crucify anybody. I'm not going to, there has to be more than one person saying he touched me, he did something, or there has to be, some solid evidence, right? So we'll cross that bridge when all the evidence comes in. But that is the story with Ricky Martin. The details are coming out that the nephew is problematic and he's been on drugs and he's estranged from the family. So the family is like, how the hell can he accuse Ricky of this when he's estranged from the family? The nephew has domestic violence charges against him and ordered protections against him from a previous relationship with another woman. His mother also has domestic violence incidents against her. She's Ricky Martin's sister. So this nephew is from Ricky Martin's sister. So it's really messy. It sounds to me like, you know how all of us have these problems in our families, and our families be like, don't talk about our business outside in the street. So it seems like the business is coming outside in the street. Okay. It's kind of like if we were to go out at the barbecue and talk about everything about our cousins and uncles and all of this shit is spilling over. So it's looking really horrible the way they're presenting it, especially in Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico has very, very, very strict incest laws. Okay. Incest laws, not pedophilia, because this man is 21 years old, but incest laws. Puerto Rico is very strict on incest. So we'll see how it unfolds, and I'll keep you guys up to date with that. Sounds like a very problematic family, and it sounds like Ricky's taking care of them for a while. When his sister did go through the domestic violence situation, Ricky said, I can't help you with it directly, but I can give you a lawyer. So, a lot of times in these families, when there's one sole star and one sole provider, a lot of the people in the family depend on that one person. So I'm waiting for the details to come out. And also, guys, there's some people here in the chat that don't like me and don't want to be here. Please fuck off today, because I want to have these conversations. You don't have to be here. And I know it's really hard for you to grasp that, because you've had problematic, dysfunctional backgrounds and lives, and you don't let go of those people. Like me, whether it's family or friend, if you're bringing toxicity into my life, I cut you off completely and utterly, like guillotine cut. I cut you off. But a lot of us in our communities, we're used to having these toxic families and tolerating these people and staying in relationships with these people, whether it's your mother, your brother, your uncle. Y'all will be the worst people to each other, and you think it's normal to continue these relationships where if you are toxic to me, I'm cutting you the fuck off. So similarly, I think you guys jump in the chat. You don't like me, but because you're so used to holding on to toxic relationships, you think it's normal to not like somebody and still be in their space, right? So if I don't like you, I'm not going to be in your space, right? So you have to learn, when you don't like somebody, to fuck off, right? Fuck all the way off. Now, if I catch you in the chat, I will block you, but I don't want to give my attention to you guys tonight, right? Like I want to talk about this because it's very, very, very important and very, very eye-opening the way Gerardo Marco presented it to me. Okay, here we go. Thank you. All right, there you go. He said he unsubbed but wishes me the best. Salute to you, sir. I'd rather that, like, unsub and get the fuck on, but don't take up time and space in my chat. Salute to you. He unsubbed and wished me the best. I wish you the best too, as well. Like, just fuck off. Like, but don't waste time in my chat, because if I catch you, I'm going to block you. And we have a good time here. So I would suggest you hang out, because there's always something to learn, and we have a good time here. But if you're going to be in the chat and be a child, just get the fuck on. Like, go somewhere else. Go where you're celebrated, right? I'm all about going where you're celebrated. Go where you're celebrated. Get the fuck on. Okay, guys. So let's get into this. Oh, yeah. The Puerto Ricans in the news. So Jennifer Lopez, or how she's amicably known as J-Lo, she got married to Ben Affleck over the weekend in Vegas. Okay, very small wedding. Nobody knew till after. She actually changed her last name to Affleck. Interesting. A whole career with the last name Lopez. She married Ben Affleck, and now she's changed her last name to Affleck. I have my own theory on why she changed it, because she did marry Mark Anthony and she didn't change her last name to Muñez when she married him. So that's interesting. But I think, you know, Jennifer Lopez has always presented as a white woman, in my opinion. You guys could disagree and be like, no, she read it. But she's always presented as white women. You know, her proximity to whiteness is what gave her the, you know what I mean, the very lucrative career that she has. And that's why she was opposite a lot of white leading men, right? I don't think if she was a brown or dark Puerto Rican, it wouldn't have went that way. She also had a phenomenal manager named Benny Medina, and he got her in, okay, where it was going to benefit her the most. And, you know, she did the blonde streaks. As you know, her hair is black, but she got the blonde streaks. She presents as a white woman. And when you're Latin and you present as a white woman, you have way, way more opportunities. So she capitalized off of that. So I'm not surprised that she took the last name, you know, Affleck, because it sounds more European than Jennifer Lopez. That's just my theory. I could be the fuck all the way wrong. But again, we're just sharing opinions, and that's just my theory. So Jennifer Lopez did get married. She is now Jennifer Lynn Affleck. Jennifer Lynn Affleck. You know, if you saw that on her application, you'd think it was a Caucasian woman. So whatever, good luck to them. I don't think it's gonna last. I think celebrities just think different. They're in a different world than we are, and they move different, right? They move in their circles differently. They date each other, and they, you know what I mean, they have a lot of money, so they just think differently than people who don't have $400 million. It's my opinion that she downgraded and she's settling for a guy that's kind of downtrodden and beat up, because this isn't Ben Affleck from the movie The Town, okay? This isn't Ben Affleck from Ben Affleck, you know what I mean, Matt Damon when they was ruling Hollywood. This is Ben Affleck in and out of rehab, Ben Affleck, you know, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Gardner, his first wife gave up on him, Ben Affleck. This is Ben Affleck who can't even finish a sentence without sounding punch drunk or like he's not there. So I'm surprised that that's where Jennifer Lopez settled. You know, it's not like she married Brad Pitt, you know what I mean? But Ben Affleck to me seems troubled. You can tell he's troubled. So you know, I'm like, did he even know he got married? Did he know what happened in Vegas? So, you know, whatever. Wish them the best, neither here nor there. I don't really care. I'm just, you know, that's what's going on with the Puerto Ricans in the news. And somebody was very concerned about, what about the Latins? So I don't know, hopefully that made you feel better that I spoke about Puerto Ricans just then. I hope that made you feel better. Did that make you feel better? I hope so. All right. There you go. Maybe you can listen to the rest of the show now. Okay. So let's bring up Haran Demarca. What's up?
You.
What is it? You know, I don't got no makeup on, Haran, today. Are you okay with that? I just want to know. Can I? Are you okay with that?
I mean, I had to take a minute. You know, I had to, you know, had to pour out a little for the homies on that one. You know what I mean? But you know what it is. So your boy Ricky out here living La Vida Loca like a motherfucker. Like,
well, if it's true, then yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I also want to say something. You know what I mean? You know, if we could just cut the bullshit for a minute. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you the truth, Jen. Nobody really has a problem with you talking about blacks. It's just the fact that you're not engaging in black victimhood. That's the problem.
Ooh, is that what it is?
That's the problem. See, you know what I mean? You could be black, you can be Latin, you can be whatever. Because you see, if you're a black person and you don't engage in black victimhood, they call you a coon. If you provide actual practical critiques, so on and so forth, things that can be, you know, constructive criticism, you're seen as a coon. But if you climb up on a platform, you get engaged in victimhood, and you feed, you know what I mean, all that nonsense like Auntie T, you know what I mean, who makes a pretty penny off of that, then you know you're put on a pedestal. You know what I mean? So I just want to put it out there, you know what I mean, and call it what it is. And it's not the first time that you've actually critiqued Latin culture. You know what I mean? You've critiqued Latin culture quite a few times, and nobody says anything. But that's another topic.
It is another topic. But I think I addressed that last stream if people want to know.
No, I'm not pandering, homie. I'm not pandering, homie. Right. Trust me. I'm not pandering. I don't pander. No, I talk the truth. Yeah. You know what I mean? No, you want me to pander. No, you want me, one second, Jen. No, you want me to pander to Black victimhood. That's what you want me to pander to. I'm not pandering, homie. But anyway, go right ahead.
And I want to piggyback off of that because you made a great point. That's true. Like Candace Owens doesn't subscribe to the victimhood. A lot of Black people don't subscribe to the victimhood. And I noticed that they get attacked as well. So it's not that I'm a Latina talking about Black issues, is that I refuse to subscribe to the victimhood, like, oh, the white man is after us, and that's why we can't do what we could do. Exactly. I can acknowledge that there's systemic oppression, vicious. I can acknowledge that there's racism, vicious
institutional racism is a real thing. Yes, it is.
All our people, right? But I don't see that. The white man not letting me do anything. And when you don't talk that way, people don't like it. And I'm never gonna talk that way. That's what I'm telling people. If they don't like it on my channel, just fucking go. But I know the pathology. I know why they hang out even when they don't like me, is because they're used to dysfunction. They're used to it. Like they're used to hating their mamas or their fathers or their cousins or their brothers or their sisters. And they think because it's family that they should still hang out with them. So then they take that idea out in the world, like, ooh, I may not like this person, but I still want to see what they're doing. I still want to be in their world. And it's toxic, but they don't even realize the toxicity of it. And they go into relationships that way. Like, all right, I don't get along with her like that, but I want to keep smashing. Or we got kids together, so I'm gonna stick around. Me, I'll cut you the fuck off. I'll give you a couple chances, but then I'm gonna cut you. I don't care if we share the same DNA. If you are bringing hell to my life, I'm cutting you off.
And we could also look at the bigger picture of it, like I always ask, okay, yeah, there is institutional racism. Yes, there is, all these things are absolutely true. Absolutely. There's police brutality. There's unfairness against the Black community. Absolutely. Okay, what we going to do about it? Now what? Mm-hmm. Now what? We just going to keep talking about it? Like, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to give up to really produce some degree of change? Anybody really willing to, to sacrifice themselves, to sacrifice their own comforts and so on and so forth? But it's not that big of a deal. You just want something to talk about. You just want something to discuss. But anyway.
Right. But like I said on my last stream, I'm here for mi gente. It's funny, DJ Torch is like, or it could be they're bored. Honey, if you are curing your boredom, watching somebody you don't like, you are dysfunctional. If you are curing your boredom, watching somebody that you don't like, you are dysfunctional. Okay, you need a hobby, you need a pastime, you need a sport that you're into, you need more friends. Okay, because if you are curing your boredom and you're not thinking, okay, I'm bored, is it time for laundry? Is it time for me to finish reading this book? Is it time for me to call my mama, see if she needs anything? If she's not alive, should I take these flowers to her grave? Like if you're curing your boredom and you went past all that list, like you didn't, oh, how's my credit score? Let me check my credit score. Let me check my bank account. Am I working out enough? Am I healthy? Mm-hmm. What's in my refrigerator? Should I meal prep? There's so many things that you could do when you're bored. But if what you're choosing to do is watch somebody you don't like, you're dysfunctional. Okay. All right. So, Haran's Marco.
Yes.
Hello, sir. I really let me say something. Let me give credit where it's due. When we are it's like brainstorming. When I talk to you, there's so many freaking topics that come up, and I'm like, oh my God, this would be such a great topic to share.
I hope you've written some of them stuff down because I haven't.
Listen, I'm gonna speak from experience. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you could jump in on that because there's also something.
No, I'm talking about the topics that we come up with. I hope
I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. I put in my little drafts in my phone.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So are Black men looking to be mothered by their mates? And also, do Black women son Black men? What do I mean by that? Do Black women son the men they're dating? What do I mean by that? I mean, in general, and this is general, this is not just Black women. In general, when women lose respect for a man, right? They start treating them like a child.
Yep.
You hear what I said? When women lose respect for a man, but she still wants that relationship for whatever reason, or she doesn't let go of that relationship, she starts treating that man like a boy, right? The resentment grows. And what happens is that man stays there because he's used to, right? His mother or his sister handling him a certain way, especially if he's the little brother. And he doesn't even have to be the little brother. The sister could be younger than the male child in the house, but she's already teaming up with her mother to treat him like he ain't shit. We gonna get deep today. We ain't gonna stay up all night, but we gonna get deep. Okay. I for one have had two experiences. Okay. Person's names in the stories may be changed to protect identity. I've dated two guys, long-term relationships, who had sisters. Moving forward, now I'm like, you know how people ask, hey, what do you do when you're dating? When you're freshly dating, what do you do for a living? Do you want children? Do you have children? Where do you see yourself? You know, that small talk that people do in the beginning. I'm to the point now where I want to know how you get along with your mother. Do you have a sister? And it's just is the happily married or has a boyfriend, or if your mother is happily married or has a boyfriend. I really need to know that. Like I really, really, really need to know that. Aside from where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you have children? What's your favorite color? What's your zodiac sign? I need to know if you have a mama and a sister, and are they happily married, engaged, or have boyfriends? And here's why. Because specifically, because I date Black men, specifically, when a Black man has a sister and a mama that are not happy, they make it hell. They make it hell for whoever he's dating and his relationship. Hell. The only time I've dated a man, I've never had that dynamic going on, was his mother was married for a long, long time, or his sister had a sister and she's happily married, or just a happy person in general, or she got her man or her boyfriend. When those two women are single, the dynamic of a Black mom and a Black sister, and I'm dating their son or their brother, they make hell for that man. And the fact that I'm Latina, oh, volcano meet tornado. Okay, volcano meet tornado. It's very rare. Okay, you know, I'm gonna call it like I see it. And I told you I'm down the middle, right? Women follow me and they're like, oh, I like her because she supports women, but I'm gonna call out women too, right? Oh, my experience. Men are like, oh yeah, she caping. I don't cape for nobody. I talk about what it is, and then you guys decide what triggers you, right? Well, that dynamic is something that I experienced twice, to the point where now moving forward, I want to know if you got a sister and if she married. Because when women are single and they're not happy, because some women are single and they're doing them, you know what I'm saying? They living their life. But when women are single and miserable, it spills over onto their brother or it spills over onto their son. That's happened to me twice. Now I'm asking, do you have a sister and do you have a mama, and are they good? Are they good? Because there's a lot of resentment and they're used to handling that male in their family. They're used to being the strong ones in the household because they had to be, right? They're used to being the strong ones in the household, and they already view men a certain way. So they think they can handle him in any choice he makes. So if the choice he makes is me, they already feel like they have seniority and the authority, okay, to run him and handle him. And it's caused conflict for me in past relationships. Okay. I can get along with anybody, at the utmost respect to whoever his mama is. But once I see Once I see you have a nasty disposition and you're single and you're constantly questioning what this man is doing and who I am, this, that, and the third. Now, there's a difference between, hey, I want to make sure that my brother has a good woman in his life, or I want to make sure that my son has a good woman in his life. I'm not talking about that because that's something I do for my family members. That's natural. You want your family members to be with somebody that's going to treat them well. Obviously, duh, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when they insert themselves in the relationship and they expect the man to respond, jump when they say jump, because they've been handling him since he was like this, right? They've been handling him since he was like this, right? So they think as an older man, they can still say who and what is going to be going on in his world. And it's caused conflict for me in the past. So now I'm like, do you have a sister? Is she married? Is she happy? Is she happy? Because if not, it's going to be a problem. And I've had men have to choose. You know what I mean? So, you know, and it's interesting because some of these guys are in their freaking mid 40s, 50s. They're children. I'm not dating 16-year-olds. I'm not 16. This has happened when I've dated men well in their 40s and even their 50s. Even their 50s, right? So that's a dynamic that I want to talk about tonight. If you guys have experienced this, male or female, feel free. Feel free, you know what I mean, to get in this, jump in this discussion. Haran, before I move forward to another dynamic I see about men looking for their mamas, that's something you touched on. So I want you to address that. And then I'll piggyback off of you and I'll give you my experience.
Yeah, well, first it stems from the core problem. And I say this to all my brothers, and I've been there myself. You know, you will find that your relationship with women changes when you remove your mother from a pedestal and you look at her as a human being. A human being who's maybe made some mistakes, who's made their own mistakes. Maybe, you know, maybe you should give your father a little bit more grace. You know what I mean? Because growing up as black men, we are often conditioned to believe that mama was always right.
Okay.
Mama knows best. Mama was always right. Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. We shouldn't question these things. You know what I mean? Black culture is very matriarchal. And that lends to a lot of the problems that we're having right now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So when you remove that and you look at your mother as a human being, then you can look at other women as human beings who come to you flawed, who regardless of what anyone tells you, everyone's going to come to you flawed. You know what I mean? No matter what age they are, if they've gone through at least 10 years of their life, of life, you're flawed to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the point of the matter is this, you know what I mean? A lot of times I see brothers when they, you know, especially in these spaces and in the real world, a lot of men I see, they're looking for women who are going to love them unconditionally. And that is just a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No woman is or should love you unconditionally. We need to really stop romanticizing the idea of relationships and marriage. We need to really be a lot more practical about these things. Everybody has conditions to some degree. Every relationship is transactional. You know what I mean? And any man who is out here running around looking for a replacement for his mother or someone to mirror his mother's love, you know, you got some mommy issues you need to deal with. You know what I mean? Only your mother's gonna love you unconditionally, assuming that you guys have a good relationship. I mean, you're a child. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But there are limits with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
People have to understand that there are limits, and when people, you know what I mean, come to terms with that, then maybe everybody won't have, you know what I mean, put so much pressure on each other to live up to these crazy ideals. You know what I mean? Look, listen. I've seen men wanting to be literally coddled like children when they're with their mates, man. Particularly when they have to contribute financially to their own children. You know what I mean? There's a thousand and one, you know what I mean, conversations about child support and so on and so forth. That's another topic in itself. But I've seen, you know, guys just literally behave like children when it comes to the responsibilities of dealing with their child. You know what I mean? Not all, of course, as we need to say these things. You know what I mean? But I have seen these things. When I've seen enough, not all, but I've seen enough. You know what I mean? And I've seen black women refer to their sons as their kings. Like, I mean, that's a little sick. Okay, it's a little, you know what I mean, disturbing. You know what I mean? Now, one thing I have seen, I've literally witnessed and have had black women say this to me. I've witnessed daughters being treated like adults in the home more so than their brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the mothers coddle their brothers, wash their fucking laundry, do all kinds of shit. These dudes leave the house without basic fucking skills in life, so on and so forth. But the daughter knows how to do all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? Daughter, you know what I mean? The mother's been hard on, so on and so forth. You know, so there's so much of this that stems from the home. You know what I mean? What a lot of these brothers expect from or conditioned, you know what I mean, to receive in the home. And they go out there into the real world and they're looking for someone to mirror that. And in many ways, I believe that's unrealistic, in many ways, unfair.
Mm-hmm. So let me jump in on romanticizing. Let me jump in on romanticizing because I noticed that on social media, struggle is romanticized, right? Like, yo, if she ain't a ride or die, drop her. If she there when you got nothing, she's a real one. Keep a real one. There's this constantly. There's this I just had this conversation last night on Facebook, and these conversations are regurgitated. These memes every year, every calendar year, the same memes are being dropped. If she there when you have nothing, she a real one. Keep her. Or the other ones, she was there when he had nothing. She stuck with him. Then he became a millionaire. Now she's getting everything. Like black women, and especially black women and women of color are constantly being told, right, they're not worthy of a man unless they're with them and willing to be the struggle buddy, right? If you're a real woman, you're going to be down for this struggle because that's what real women do. And we saw a couple weeks ago with the Watch Jazzy chick, the Instagram influencer, how she described catering to her man, Cam Newton, the football player. She was like, I rub his back till he falls asleep every night. And I notice his breathing. I can tell when he's falling asleep because his breathing changes. I pack his luggage. I unpack his luggage. I cook his meals. When he's eating, I feel so good that he's eating that meal. Like I have an A. She says she has an A+ and knowing what her man needs before he even needs it. And as she spoke more and more and more, it sounded like, if you didn't know the subject, it sounded like she was talking about an infant.
Yes.
Like
it does sound pretty good.
Everything she said was how you would treat an infant. Like we know when our babies are hungry, we know when our babies are going to be hungry because they're on a clock, right? So I thought it was disturbing. I didn't think it was cute. She admitted that she has daddy issues. So that's, that probably is another factor in why she's trying to look for love, via service, right? Instead of being a partner. She also says she got tired of looking for love and for people to love her. So now she's giving love instead of waiting to receive it. She's just giving. And when she was asked, does this man have a A+ and knowing what you need, she said no, right? So she's just giving. So she can get this, I don't know, she finds, I guess, comfort in being the person that's always giving. But there's a lot of romanticism in the struggle, and it's always directed at Black women. And I feel like Black women, you're being bamboozled. Like struggling is not cute. It's not a prerequisite to make you a real woman, right? And I think it's an act of manipulation. I think it's a lack of love to manipulate a woman into a struggle so she can feel worthy. And I think the reason why women, myself included, have fallen into that is because the things that make a woman beautiful and the things that make a woman great, right, can be used against her. What are we naturally? What are women naturally? Innately, we're nurturers, right? We see the little bird on the sidewalk. Oh my God, let's bring the bird home and fix the bird. Our babies are crying. Oh my God, what happened? Get the Band-Aid. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. You know what I mean? Naturally, we're like that. We feed our children via our breast. Okay, we feed children. We make human beings. We carry them for 9 months. So innately, we're nurturers. We want to take care. We're fixers, right? But those things can be easily manipulated and taken advantage of. So when a man comes in and he puts in her head that you have to be taking care of me or else you're not being a whole woman, women can easily fall into that. So when I was Watch Jazzy describe her relationship with Cam Newton, I was disgusted actually, and I felt sorry for her. I felt sorry for her, especially because she said out her own mouth, I got tired of waiting for people to love me, and I just decided the one that's loving, right? So we have to be very careful because that's a manipulation tactic. Here's what I say to men, and they don't like it. They don't like it when I say this. But I feel like a man who really cares about a woman is not going to pull her into his struggle. He's just not. He's just not. He's going to want the best for her, right? Plenty of times we go through things, and what's the first, if we have children, the first thing we think is, I don't want my child going through this. Let me put my child in a better situation while I go bust my ass and do something, you know what I mean, that's going to be beneficial to have this child around, right? That's how we think, right? When we're able to do it that way, we don't want our children in the hell that we're going through because we made bad decisions. So why is it that men who are supposed to be the leaders of our communities, why are they so careless, right, with bringing women into that struggle? And they do it with conviction. They're like, if you can't be with me when I ain't got nothing, then you ain't worthy of me, because I need you to love me when I ain't got nothing. And it's something that's regurgitated I'm telling you, every freaking year, the same memes are dropped on Facebook. The same memes. I know you know the memes I'm talking about. Every single year they're dropped on Facebook. The same shit verbatim over and over and over again. You can't love me at my worst. You the constantly. And I feel like it's a conditioning and it's a manipulation. So I'm always telling women, do not fall for that struggle buddy position. But a lot of women are waking up. They're like, been there, done that, didn't even get the t-shirt for it. I'm out, right? I'll get a little personal and then I'll look at the comments and throw it back to you, Haran. But, you know, I have an ex who is constantly, right, trying to convince me that I was supposed to be there for him, right? He'll send me little videos and memes and things like that of like, look, this is what women are supposed to do for men that are down and out, right? Like, but I'm like, dude, you and I are not together, okay? Well, that's a huge factor, because I fell for the, oh my God, you're just going through a rough patch. Okay, let me be the ride or die, because that's what women do. And then we throw the S on our chest and I can fix you, baby. Don't worry. I can fix you, right? Women will do that. We're nurturers. But some people are not just going through a rough patch. Some people, a rough patch is their lifestyle. And that's the problem. Right? Now, are there men who were doing well and then go through a rough patch and need support and need help? Sure. But I think that men should do it on their own and bounce back. That's what I think. I don't think that a man should be out looking for ass, okay, in a struggling position. It's not good for him. It's not good for her. The relationship will crumble. She will resent you. Point blank period. She will resent you. Now I'm doing this because I know some guys are probably watching. They're like, my wife fell in love with me when I was sleeping on my mama couch. And now we got 4.5 kids and a studio apartment. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not talking about y'all. Okay. The majority of men that go out looking for women while they're struggling, that is that dude's mentality. That's his mentality. He really thinks that you're supposed to be a struggle buddy. What I would recommend for guys, because you got to, you know what I mean? Some guys can't concentrate without getting ass on the side, whether they're struggling or not. Men like ass. I would suggest break off a prostitute $20, keeping it real, okay? Get your knob sobbed and then go back to your hustle. But don't be an asshole and pull a woman in to your struggle, because she will resent you and it will crumble eventually. That's the majority of the cases. I'm not talking about the little diamonds in the rough that it's like, I'm gonna love you without a car and a house, and you have all this potential, and you're gonna blow up and be a millionaire and take us out of all this poverty. I'm not talking about those those are anomalies. But men talk as if that's the norm. Like, love me when I don't got nothing, and I'm gonna. No, some people, struggle is their lifestyle. Struggle is what they do. They're constantly living hand to mouth. Okay. So I would say you stand a better chance not even indulging. There's nothing sexier than a man that is like, I ain't fucking with nobody till I get my shit in order, till I get my affairs in order. I'm not pulling a woman into this. There's nothing sexier than that, gentlemen. Get your affairs in order, okay? Get your affairs in order, okay? Before you go out there trying to pull a woman into that, because women don't deserve that. They just don't. They just don't. And that was my personal experience. I experienced that to the point where, you know what I mean? I'm talking about years after I broke up with this man. He's still trying to convince me that women are supposed to be years. And he's still in the same position, right? Still trying to convince, hey, how you doing? I just wanted to drop this video by you. You're never going to convince me that a woman is supposed to love on a man that ain't got his affairs in order. You're not going to convince me of it. And women have to stop doing it. Just don't do it. There are freaking millions and billions of people on this planet, despite what the manosphere says about, oh, there's not enough men out here. There are millions and billions of people on this planet. You can find somebody that you don't have to sign up to be a struggle buddy for. Ron, while I look at the
Yeah, I just want to say something, man. Look, in terms of the brothers, look, if a woman is willing to accept you as a lesser version of yourself, and she ain't pressing you and pushing you to be better, you're an idiot if you stay with this woman, because she's a liability. That woman's a liability, man, because she's enabling your mediocrity.
Let's hear it.
She's going to leave. She's going to anchor you in that mud. And men are creatures of routine and habit and conditioning. If you wake up every morning as a man and you don't see any incentive in improving yourself because you have somebody that's sucking your dick and you only making, $30,000 a fucking year, you won't continue making that $30,000 a year because you're getting your dick sucked anyway. Okay? That is the real of it. You allowed another person to rob you of an opportunity to find and improve yourself. I mean, all that, I need a woman to help me find myself, and she helped me pull myself from my bootstrap. Okay, well, what happened if you lose it? What are you then? If your entire identity is connected to, this woman's concern, what if you lose this woman? Are you able and capable of actually pulling yourself from your bootstraps? Do you know who you are as a man? Can you stand on your own square? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that these are the realities that a lot of men, discuss. And I want to talk about something else also. Black men are often infantilized in the community, but seen as men in brutes by the white power structure. That is the conflicting.
Wait. Say that again.
Black men.
Uh-huh.
We are treated as children and infants in the community, but we're seen as men and brutes by the white power structure. Outside of that, even as children, Black men aren't allowed to be infants. Black men are not allowed to be children outside of the community. This is one of the reasons why the Central Park Five were charged as adults. Okay, if we really want to start talking about what racism and what it really is, and what the realities really are, instead of accusing people of pandering and so on and so forth. I can talk about the realities of racism all day. I can talk about the realities of all this. A lot of you really do not want to discuss because it's too uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But Again, you know, black men want to sit here, you know what I mean, and constantly chase after a woman, you know what I mean, to help them, help them shape their egos and find their egos. No, don't do that. Find yourself. Stand on your own too, and understand that the woman that you choose, she has to be an asset, and she has to complement, the best version of yourself. She has to be a representation of the best version of yourself. And if she is not, she is an enemy to your existence. Exactly. Good is the enemy of great. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And you know what it is. Look, man. Look, listen. You know, at the end of the day, just a lot of us are just afraid to fly, man. A lot of us are just afraid to put in the work. We're afraid to fly, so it's just easier to, get a chick who's ready to be the ride or die, and she'll accept the lesser version of you. I ain't got to do all this shit. I can just get me a whatever chick, you know what I mean, who's willing to accept me for this and keep it pushing. And a lot of dudes, you know what I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. A lot of dudes, they broke up with women who wanted them to be the best version of themselves, and they got with the woman who accepted the lesser version of themselves.
That right there. That right
If we
there.
really want to talk some real shit, a lot of dudes did that.
Super chat break. Thank you so much for this super chat, Jabari Bryant. Jabari Bryant says, good is the enemy of great. You can enjoy being good, or you can strive constantly to be great. Life lesson. I love that. That is gospel. I want to talk about this love thing because people are confused. This love thing. Love is not unconditional. Love is not unconditional. I want to say that again. Love is not unconditional, right? There are conditions in every exchange, right? So for someone to think that you're supposed to love them no matter what they look like, and this is for men and women. This is for men and women, because some women are like, hey, take me as is. I ain't have you. You know what I looked like when we first met. I ain't got to maintain my looks. You know what I mean? Take me as is. Love is not conditional. Okay? It's not, it's not, I'm sorry, it's not unconditional. It's conditional in any exchange. So it just surprises me that people think the meme I'm speaking about specifically said a black man will not be loved thoroughly without money. That's what the meme said. I'm sure you guys have seen it because it's always being dropped on the timelines. A black man will never be loved without money. And it sends the message of that he's entitled to be loved without providing. That's crazy to me. He's entitled to be loved without being what he should be, a protector and a provider. It's a sob story. It's a defeatist mentality. That's like a woman saying, well, you gotta love me, even though I'm not gonna look like nothing. I'm not gonna cook. I'm not gonna clean. I'm not gonna build you up. I'm not gonna raise these dang kids. You gotta love me as is. Okay? That's like a woman saying a woman will never be loved unless she doesn't raise her children appropriately and she's a good wife or a good mother or a good girlfriend. A woman will never be loved. If you damn right. You damn right. Love has conditions. And people have been manipulated to think that love isn't supposed to have conditions. The only thing that doesn't have conditions is the baby, the children we bear and bring onto the planet. Because they didn't ask to be here. And we have to provide for them. We have to care for them. And even those children, when they grow up, you're like, okay, you're going to get allowance, but you have to do your chores. Or I'm going to give you this money, but what are you going to do with it? Right? And we know what happens when we don't treat children that way. It's a disaster. So everything has conditions. I don't know why people are running around acting like you're supposed to love me even when I'm broke.
Actually, what people call, a lot of people refer to as unconditional love, that shit is really emotional dependency. A lot y'all really out here trauma bonding. you, you think it's unconditional love, it's not. You know what I mean? somebody, a lot of times somebody's searching for the love that they didn't receive from their parent, and they're projecting it on you. And that's why they're really willing to do anything, even be abused and treated all kinds of certain ways and have their lives destroyed in the name of love, because they really didn't get hugged enough by their dad. They really didn't get hugged enough by their mom. So, people need to really sit down and think about, what this concept of unconditional love means, and because it should not entail the abuse and the utter destruction and degradation of you, of you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That doesn't sound practical. So I'm supposed to, love myself. I love that other person unconditionally to the point where I'm willing to ruin and destroy my entire identity. You know what I mean? Of who I am. It just really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense, and it's not smart.
Do you think that women go into relationships with black men already thinking that they're infants? Do you think they already look at them like, this dude's not going to be able to be a leader? He's not a leader in the community. So I'm just going to son him, and that's how it's going to be, right? Because I think
Yes.
that black men are used to a lot of tough love, right? They
Mm-hmm.
use a lot of tough love, right? And women are used to tough loving them. And I think that carries over when we're out in the world and now we're in these relationships. Like we don't really count on men, right, to handle all the situations. I'm a very strong personality.
Mm-hmm.
So when I am dating, I'm already looking for like, all right, this dude ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna do it. So do you think that women go into that? You said yes. Can you
Mm-hmm.
elaborate on that? Do you think that women already go into dating black men like this little poo putt, but I'm gonna love him anyway, and he looking for a second mama anyway, so I'll do it. Like watch Jazzy, like she literally said she didn't get the relationship that she wanted from her father,
Right.
so she's like, let me mother this man into loving me back.
Yes. I've also seen, put it this way, you often see this dynamic come into play not when things are going great. You often see the dynamic coming into play once the arguments start. Pay attention to how she speaks to him, how she's arguing with him. Is she arguing with him as if he's her equal, her husband, or is she speaking to him like a child? She's speaking to him as if she's chastising a child.
So let me tell you something. Let me jump in right there. As I spoke of the ex, and Rochelle, I agree with you 100%. You shouldn't like keep in contact with exes. I'm the type, I'm like, if he wasn't a complete tyrant or an asshole, I'll say hi or whatever in passing on social media. But you're absolutely right. I am with you. Like you shouldn't, when something didn't work out, you need to just move, cut all ties and move forward, especially when it's the same conversation over and over again, like a hamster wheel, and nothing has changed. And you're seeing this person, 6-7 years later, and you're like, you're still in the same situation. So I agree with you 100%. But I have to piggyback off what you said, Haran, because that's exactly the frustration I felt. I felt like I was talking to and chastising a child. I felt like I was talking, like the vein would pop out the side of my neck. And I was like, why the fuck don't you understand that you have to have money to do this? And it's not the person's fault that you want the service from, because they're offering you a service for
Right.
money. That's how the world works. I offer my service, you give me my money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
my vein used to be popping out the side of my neck. Like, why am I telling a man who's almost 50 that he has to provide? Like, I'm telling you. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I feel like I'm constantly beating on a son. And then you start resenting that man. And I don't know, we live in a world where everybody's getting theirs. Everybody's doing their thing, men and women. I tell my male friends and my female friends, get your affairs in order. Because whenever your man or your woman goes out in that world, they are looking at men and women that are doing the damn thing. And we're all human. We are all human. That's how the work husbands happen. That's how the work wives happen. You gotta have your affairs in order. How are you not nervous as a man, not showing, you know what I mean, conviction, potential, and like, I can take care of this and I got this? How are you just so laid back? So I could not take it anymore. I was like, yo, you're not nervous about not having money? Like, you're not nervous? Like, I would be scared. I would be petrified to be that laid back in this economy with as uncertain as the world is, pandemics, inflation, gas prices. I would be scared shitless to be like, hey, I'll figure it out. What? What?
One thing I must say about black men that
Oh, wait. We got some heavyweights backstage, and I want to bring them up while you make your point. We got
Jabari back.
We got Damien back.
Hey, what's poppin', homeboy?
What's happening? What's up?
And we got Jabari. We got Damien, my YouTube husband.
Well, them speakers ain't on over there, are they?
It's all good. It's all good.
And we got Mr. Jabari Bryant. I know Jabari got some smoke for me. I know you do. I know you do.
Hey, how's everybody today? Sorry, my voice, and I'm grinding. I apologize.
What's going on, Jay?
I apologize.
What's happening, brother?
What's up, brothers?
Loud and clear. Hello. Rochelle says it is the very reason why statistically married men live longer than married women. Wait. Let me just address this before we go another further. This, and I co-sign. Blood Moon says many Latino men want a second mommy. They always look for women who would cater to them like their mother did. I can vouch for that because I know in Puerto Rican culture, and again, my experience, if you are Puerto Rican and this never happened in your life, okay, right? I'm just saying in Puerto Rican culture, when I went to my aunt's house, when I went to my cousin's house, in my house, my friends' houses, Puerto Rican men are treated like kings, even without a kingdom, right? The women are raised to be subservient, to learn how to cook very, very early. That's why I know how to cook. My mom made it stressed. All the appliances, the faucets, and it stuck with me, have to be shiny. If the faucet isn't shiny in your house, everything had to have a shine to it. That's how we're raised from when we're little girls, right? And then the men, they ain't got to do shit. We got to serve our brothers. We have to make sure, the plates are made. That is how we are raised. So I agree with Blood Moon. So it's like when these men go out in the world, no sirven pa nada. Like what are you going to do for me if you're used to women catering to you? How are you going to provide a life for me that I am going to enjoy and be happy in? So I agree with that 100% because I saw it growing up in our house. Like the boys could do no wrong. The boys could do no wrong. And I was like, you know what? And it turned me off to dating Puerto Rican men because when I look at society, I see a lot of absence. I worked in corporate America. I didn't see Puerto Ricans, right? I look at sports. I don't see Puerto Ricans, Victor Cruz and Roberto Clemente. When you look at whatever it is, whether it's entertainment industry, where are the Puerto Ricans unless you're talking reggaeton? Now, reggaeton is taking over the world, right? But that's a different thing. That's now. I'm 48 now, but when I was growing up, you didn't see that. You did not see that, right? So that's where I come from. So I 100% agree with Blood Moon. Like I was turned off to it. I was completely turned off to it. I'm like, we're doing all this work. We're cleaning mirrors. And my father had floor to ceiling mirrors. He had the gym mirrors in our living room. And we're cleaning the mirrors on the weekend and making the rice and beans. You know what I mean? So it's absolutely true. Why are men in our communities coddled and babied, and then when they go out in the world, they don't know how to be head of household, and they're like, you're supposed to love me no matter what. I'm not your mama, sir. I'm not your mama. So welcome, Damien and Jabari. Haran, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I wanted to really address the fact that a lot of times black men suffer in silence because we've disconnected emotionally from a lot of things. We don't
Okay.
discuss it enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes these things might express themselves in a lot of ways, but it's a very layered conversation. But a lot of times people might think that, you know what I mean, we're either, we either don't we either don't care or we're just too stoic and so on and so forth. It's just like, no, we've placed ourselves in a position where we understand what we need to do. We keep our eyes on what we need to do a lot of times, and sometimes to our detriment, we just block out everyone else. And as I said before, it's just a very layered conversation. I just want to get to these brothers right here.
Okay. Yeah. And when I said this is gonna piss some people off, but you know me, yo no tengo pelo en la lengua. Okay. But I think that's why, Black men in our neighborhoods, I think that's why Black men gravitated towards Puerto Rican women, because what Black men were looking for, right? Puerto Rican women were raised to do. All right. That is not a slight towards Black women. Nobody panic. Black women have a very unique experience in America, a very unique experience where they're constantly being bashed and berated and have to develop masculine energy very early to protect themselves. They're constantly being told they're not attractive in their complexion and their hair. They're listening to this from when they're very, very young. And then they take on a different, persona and psyche to survive, because we're all trying to survive, right? We're all trying to survive the next day. So in that life, they are not, their world isn't cushy enough so they can be those subservient women, those catering women, because they're too busy fucking being raised on survival and trying to survive and being told they're not attractive in their hair and this and their complexion. So Puerto Rican women are not raised in that environment. So we're raised to be subservient. So Black men are seeking this love because they're also getting beat up as they grow up in that home with that strong Black woman. So insert the Puerto Rican woman who's like, oh my God, come here. I raise men here, right? And that's why they gravitate towards each other. I'm not taking away from anybody. I'm just saying that is what I have seen, experienced. Those are the conversations I've had with Black men, where there were certain things that I did for Black men and they were shocked. Like, wait a minute, y'all do, like, if they come in 9-10 o'clock and they're like, I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, I'll throw a steak on. And they're like, but it's 9 o'clock. I don't give a damn. Like, that's what we do. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? And they're like, you're going to fucking cook at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's the difference between, your legs ain't broke and, I'll get you, I got you. That's the difference. Seriously. I mean, sometimes that's what you hear. Be like, hey, I'm hungry. Your hands ain't broke. Kitchen right over there.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's just a foreign concept that people just like, that not only do they indulge in it, they overindulge in it. They set their baseline at that. Because a brother come in, he starts dating a Latina woman and she's doing all that stuff. That's the baseline. So there's no going back for that. You know how Chris Rock say, you can't go back from that. You can only you can have variations of it, but there's no way you can go back to, from, oh yeah, whatever, it's 9 o'clock, I'm gonna throw a steak on the grill for you and your hands ain't broke. There's no way you can go back to that. Unfortunately, that's just real talk.
And it's a conditioning. Like we are so conditioned. I would literally feel this little chip in my head, like a panic, if I didn't go make that steak. It was like conditional. Like, I'm supposed to take care of my man. Like, this is not even like, okay, it was like, oh, okay, let me go. Well, my mama did it for my daddy. This is what we do. So it's not, I understand why Black women are not in that space. I understand why Black women are not in that space. So I'm not saying it in a way it was like, well, we do this and y'all don't do that, and that's why. No, we're just talking about what is. That's it. We're just talking about what is.
Because historically, it seems like you know, a lot of sisters, their mother and their big mamas are preparing them to be by themselves. They're saying, you know what, your man that may not be there, so you need to do all this stuff for yourself and make sure that you and your children are taken care of. You know, because there was this big thing I was watching. It was like, you know, mama's cooking, who eats first? Do you feed the kids first or do you feed your man first? And that was like a big thing. I was watching everybody kind of put their 2 cents on it, what have you, in on it, as far as, well, the kids are the kids, you know, I need to take care of them. But, you know, there was like a definite division between, like, you know, which groups did that. Some groups, like, you know, and it happened to be Latina women who were saying, you know, the husband eats first, then the kids, then myself, or what have you. That's the way it kind of just organically unfolded. And I was surprised. Well, I was surprised, but not surprised to see that.
You know, another aspect of this that we're leaving out, it's growing up with that nuclear family. When you grow up with that nuclear family, you tend to have a different mindset. You do tend to have that the father gets the big piece of chicken, as Chris Rock said. You do have that the father eats first when you grow up with the man in the house. I think you made a really good point when you said you have these big mamas raising their daughters to be, you know, alone. Well, they're alone. They're teaching what they know. And it becomes a self-perpetuating model. But at the same time, you said, but they have kids. So it's okay to create this single parent household. You know, you hold it up. Oh, you know, Dear Mama and all of these songs, you know, this mindset. But that struggle isn't natural. That struggle creates a mindset in women, and that mindset in women creates the very problem that we're talking about, that creates this self-perpetuating cycle of single motherhood, this self-perpetuating cycle of, you know, you don't feel enough, you don't feel good enough. You have to, even when you're in the mindset of the single parent, you create a false dichotomy when you look at life. That's how you raise your son to be your man, but you raise him, and you consequently you raise him to be sorry, because you raise him to look for a mother in a relationship, you know, which is this self-perpetuating cycle. Women saying black men ain't shit, but they're raising a house full of ain't shit black men, or as I like to say, old black boys, rather than putting him around other men. Even if you're in that single, like my grandmother, whom I love and I will skin you like an onion over, my grandmother was a single mother, and my uncles grew up in sports. They grew up around her brothers because she understood that they needed that strong male role model. She understood that. And as a result, the men in my family created, you know, my uncles, my brothers, we all created nuclear families. We don't have a bunch of the men from my grandmother's below my grandmother's generation didn't create a bunch of babies on the side. It wasn't a bunch of baby mamas. When it was, this was your ex, this was your ex-wife, that's who you have kids with, you know, if it's a baby mama situation, because we were still taught the value of the nuclear family. We were still taught the value of gender roles. And there's a level of finance, and I apologize for going on so long. There's a level of societal building and wealth building that goes along with that mindset. You know, 2 is better than 1 when it comes to your financial means. When you're talking about struggling, when you're talking about that struggle mindset. But if you're talking about that I'm going to achieve mindset, I'm going to be the man. You know, that's a powerful idea that we've lost in our community. The idea of the man, where the man works. Like, you know, even on Good Times, I watched Good Times this weekend, then I'm gonna shut up. James Evans, when James was in the house, Florida didn't work. Y'all ever notice that? It was Good Times. When James was in the house, Florida did not work. And they were in Cabrini Green, which was, you know, Cabrini Green up until the day they tore it down.
Yeah, seriously.
But he was a man. He was a man in that house, and no one doubted it. And I'm sure we all know people where money has been tight, whatever, but that man was there being a father, being a husband, and he passed on the skill sets, the mindset necessary to build that wealth in the next generation. And to me, that's always been the Black American dream. And that's what we've lost. And I'll shut up.
I want to address something real quick. I'm sorry, Jen. One of your comments, Morena Reyes just said, my kids eat before my man or my husband or what have you. The question is, what is that telling your kids? What is that showing your kids about the value of the man that's going out to work every day? Like, what is it saying? What are they saying? Are you putting in their head that that he is secondary to them? What kind of statement are you putting in? So, and how will that play in the long run? Shouldn't it be that your dad is your dad is getting his plate first because he's going out, he's slaying them dragons, like you like to say. He's going to get those what is, like, he's not bringing home the coyote, he's bringing home the brontosaurus, the 2 brontosaurus. He's out there fighting and bringing home brontosaurus for us to eat, and and he don't even get the courtesy of being able to rest and sit down and eat first. All these, all your children, yeah, of course they need to be taken care of. They're going to be taken care of, but all they've done is play and learn all day. This man has been facing the slings and arrows of the world, trying to maintain for the family, provide for the family. And you're going to say, oh, that's secondary to my children who eating first. I mean, it's just, I think that's just that's just setting a bad tone in the family.
So I want to address this comment. Chocolate LVR says they keep focusing on single mothers and the topic is far from it. FYI, Chocolate LVR, these conversations go every which way, and we talk about different factors within the topic. But if you'd like to come up, I'd be more than happy to have you up. I dropped the link. If you have something to say about the men, feel free to come up. You don't have to come up, but you could come up and give your opinion. Damian Morena Reyes rebut is, my husband is not in competition with the kids. That's how we were raised.
Can I address that comment as well?
Sure.
When we talk about the single mother, I was always taught when you are looking to actually solve a problem, you look at root causes. You can't solve a problem without looking at the cause of the problem. And the cause of the problem is the deterioration of the family. Now, I've been on this very platform, Jen's platform. I've been known to be extremely hard on men and I feel like a lot of the blame for the single family from the single parent household in the Black community is the result of the Black man giving up, is the result of the Black man taking the easy way out. And you see more and more, this is not a Black man thing, but this is a society as a whole thing, where you have men taking the easy way out and bailing, where you have a responsibility. You'll have, to that same situation, you'll have a man who will not take care of his kids, but live in a house with the woman and take care of someone else's kids. It's that same thing. And so when we talk about the single mother, we're talking about the single parent household. We're talking about the single parent household. It's just much, much, much less likely for it to be a single father household to a single mother household. But the situation is the same. The situation is absolutely the same. And the idea, and I hate addressing this, and I don't, that's why I saw when the comment was made and I ignored it. Your kids shouldn't come before your spouse, whether you're a man or a woman. Your kids should not come before your spouse. I challenge anyone to show me a society that has been successful based on that premise throughout human history. I challenge anyone to show me any theological book that follows that, any philosophical train of thought, any successful society that has followed the concept that kids should be put above your spouse, because kids are kids. And until recently, the mortality rate for kids were so high that you couldn't do that and expect to maintain a family, because kids died so young. So many kids died in childhood anyway. So this modern concept of my kids are more important than my spouse contributes to the deterioration of the family. And if you look at when that was introduced, it was introduced honestly by people who had eugenicist backgrounds, so people who were creating government systems whose intent was to replace the typical family with the government, the great leader, which is what happened in a lot of these societies. And I can provide references on the normal circumstances. I got other stuff to do tonight. I don't want to get down a rabbit hole. But that's not a successful formula either for building wealth, for building strong societies, and definitely not for building strong families. And I'll shut up because I'm not going to debate.
So let me respond to this real quick, because this is the second time I'm getting this question. Isn't this conversation about Black men? This conversation is about both Black men are Black men looking to be mothered by their mate, and also do Black women or do Black women specifically son these men, like treat them like their sons instead of their mate or their spouse, treat them like their sons. I spoke about my ex. We started out talking about men who are looking to be mothered. So we're talking about men and women in these dynamics. Again, my beautiful ladies, if you want to come up and add your point of view, instead of being in the chat, come up and challenge these dudes. Come up and challenge me. I am here for you. I can't read all the comments. I will drop the link again. If you have something you want to say about men and your experience, and you want to rebut and say, not me, and this is what I've seen, please feel free to come up. You don't have to cam up. We're taking it easy. It is Monday night. I wanted to Divine's comment because I thought it was funny, and I think it merits an answer. She says, what about the women that go to work, then come home and cook? Does she eat first because she's worked and cooked?
Well, I understand what she's saying there. The thing should be this: it should be some type of reciprocity in that. I don't get me wrong. I don't expect you go home and work and then cook and what have you, and then clean up. In my household, I would just do the dishes. I would, do all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be like, you need to click and do the dishes and all. I will take that part about it. If I'm doing the dishes, taking the trash out, that kind of stuff, we even alternate. Like, okay, I'll put the kid to bed or whatever like that. That's how it works in my house. She's, it's definitely a division of responsibility, but there's still that ultimate like respect, because just to kind of go back to what the other comment was, it's not a competition. It should be well established who the leader of the house is. If he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, if he's provisioning and he's protecting and he's, out there, he's set a plan for the long-term success of the family that you're following, it shouldn't be there should be no hesitation for you to be like, look, because what does that tell the kids? It's like, okay, if you are this kind of man, this is the treatment that you should expect. Or you can get if you are this type of guy. If you're a guy who are going out, you're providing and protecting and doing the things, women will appreciate that, and they will show that appreciation by doing these type of things for you.
I don't believe that women should have to work, but that's but I get accused of being a chauvinist. I apologize, Ron. I've been quite clear. I don't believe that a woman should have to work. I believe that a man's
I think every real man is a chauvinist to some degree.
I take a very old school approach to that. So I'm a bow out of this whole line of questioning, because I believe that it's one thing if a woman wants to work, but a woman your woman should not have to work. And
my wife doesn't have to. She hasn't worked. She didn't work for 10 years, and then the kids went back to school, and she was just like, I'm bored. What can I do? And like, and all the bills are paid by my salary and income, all the household bills. But like now she has money to like go, if her and her girls want to go and drop a bunch of money at brunch, you can do that. Like our family's going to Mexico in a couple of weeks, and she's paid for that from, and it's just because she wanted to bring the family to Mexico. It's just like, now it's just like the things that are the foundational things have been taken care of and have been taken care of for the last 10, 12 years.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. But I mean, she's just one of those people, like she went to school, got 2 degrees, and it's just like, I don't want to sit there and waste all this stuff now that I don't have to mother the kids 8 hours a day. I got this time, and so I'm like, do what you want to do. I support it, but it's never going to be any. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's like, I really do believe like you need to provide the way you can't expect like that type of treatment to be looked at as the leader if it's a if it's if it's like what like there needs to be, don't get me wrong, there needs to be it needs to be equal, but there's a difference. Equality does not have to mean equal money. It's just like as far as like equal effort and equal contributions. Like her contributions were, raising our kids until they were school age, and that was what she sacrificed, a career that was actually going somewhere because she felt like she didn't want anybody else raising her kids at this point in her life. So, when she came to me and said, hey, my friend is starting this business, I want to like help her out, I think I'll be good at it. Be able to like rock with it, do your thing.
I don't believe I believe every competent man or real man is to some degree a chauvinist. It has to be to some degree, and I don't believe that any woman worth her salt. She's not. If she has to look at you, if she's looking at you either physically or psychologically, she doesn't see you. If she sees you as an equal, she doesn't see you as a man. She sees you as her friend, as her cohort, as her peer. A woman either looks down, at, and up. Women, when they look up, they look up to men, whether that's intellectually, whether that's physically, so on and so forth, or whatever. I believe those things. AJ made a comment earlier about men being used to being ignored. At by their family, something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but that lends to the point that I was making, Jen, about there's a lot of brothers who suffer in silence.
What do you think about anyone on the panel or all of you? What do you think about this constant barrage of these things that we see online with them? Because I'm annoyed. And I'm not even a Black woman, and I'm annoyed by the onslaught of these memes and these posts every year where Black men are constantly telling Black women, if you don't love me when I don't have shit, then you don't qualify to be a real woman. And they pit women against each other, and then the pick-me's hit the comments, and they're like, yeah, that's right, I love you if you live in a cardboard box. And then those women are against the women that are saying, fuck that, I'm not taking a man with no money. And then a war happens, and the dude is still in the middle, no money, waiting to see who's going to bring them into their home. What do you feel about men that are constantly doing that? Again, my situation, dude was in his 40s, now he's in his 50s, singing, same fucking violin. Like, you're supposed to love me no matter what. What do you feel about those men? Because obviously you guys aren't those type of men, but when you see that, what are you thinking?
I think it's a manipulation, because I think what happened is they feel like, they feel the woman slipping away, and they feel like they need to find a way to manipulate them to feel like, the onus is on them to prove something to the man, as far as like, I need to prove something to you to prove that I can be the provider and protector that you need. I don't have that capability. So I'm gonna make it seem like you are wrong for wanting those things and expecting those things. So I think it's just a manipulation in order to get the woman to stick around for longer than she probably is wanting to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also, throw in there that I believe that there's just a lot of brothers who are looking for someone to basically put up with the fact that they just don't want anything in life. They want someone who will coddle them, someone who will enable them. We also have to think, about it. A lot of people, we don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people really aren't looking for partners, man. They're really looking for enablers. They want to come in with their baggage and their bullshit, and they want someone else to basically essentially accept them for that.
I'm hard on men. I'm hard on men. So
Let's hear it.
I just keep my, I try to multitask when I'm here. try to read the chat and be involved in the panel. I think a lot of people believe that the YouTube reality is reality, and it's not. It's not. I believe that when we encounter people like this, like what you're describing, I think if you allow that to continue, it is the result of bad choices, because there are always going to be people who try to take advantage of other people. There are always going to be people who run game. And I just want to drop a quick statistic. And this is for, I want to say Marino, who's and Blood Moon, who, not Marino, I'm sorry, Blood Moon, who's talking
Blood
about.
Moon got it for us. We ain't
Well,
shit. Blood Moon talk. We ain't shit.
Well, here's the thing, Blood Moon.
Blood Moon.
And again, these are statistics, and these are
Oh,
from.
shit, all foolish.
Wait a second. You know how you all know how I do. Those who know me, Kids Count Data Center, which is a part of the Annie Casey Foundation. 16% of Black women are stay-at-home moms. 16%. 16%, and that number increased by 10% from 2020 to 2021. And they say they're projecting it to increase again. So just because that's not your reality, that is a reality for a lot of people, and it's a growing reality. So your view, and you have to remember, 16% of Black women are stay-at-home moms, when 34%, when it's only 36% of Black kids being born in single parent and two-parent households. So 16% of those are not 16% of the 34%, but 16% of married Black women are stay-at-home moms. So your reality, just because something isn't your reality, doesn't mean that it's not reality, and it's not a growing reality. Let me go ahead and put that out there. And there are far more successful Black families than we see on TV, than we see, because you have to think about, we think about things in percent. There are over 40 million Black people in this country. 40 million. If 34% are married, that is 12 million Black families. 12 million people are functioning in nuclear Black families.
Can we hear that again? Because I always tell people, like, this social media, these gender wars, I still say are a hoax. I say they're a hoax because the men that say women should be held accountable and women should be submissive have a slew of pick-me's in the chat saying, I'll do it. But those men never get with those women. And that's why I say the gender war on social media is a fucking hoax. Or those men would be like, oh, you're submissive? Well, here, take my number. That's why I say it's a hoax. But with your statistics, can you just please repeat that for the people in the back? How many nuclear Black families are there? Very functioning. I know some. So Jabari, can you give us that again?
Once again, about 40 million. To be exact, it's about 42 million and change. 40 million. I'm rounding it for easy numbers. 40 million Black people in the United States. That doesn't include mixed race. That includes people who identify as Black. 40 million. If 34% are in nuclear families, that is 12 million Black people in nuclear families. So this is not something that is, even though statistically it may look large, there are millions of Black people in nuclear families. If 16% of Black women, 16% of Black women are stay-at-home moms. Let's say half the population of Blacks are women, and we know that number is higher than half, but let's say half, 20 million, 16% of 20 million is 3.2 million. 3.2 million stay-at-home Black mothers. So just because something isn't our reality or your reality does not mean that it's not reality.
And speaking of reality, I just want to say, yes, I had my father in my home, but we weren't perfect. He wasn't perfect. My dad was a tyrant, okay? Ruled with an iron fucking fist. But I did grow up knowing what a man is supposed to do. My dad was no joke, okay?
And those are the actual Blood Moon.
Believe it or not, for everyone in the chat, I mean, there are actually a lot of Black men out here with really good jobs, man. running great businesses, you know what I mean, who are actually functional human beings. Like these two gentlemen, they appear to be in relationships. You know what I mean? They're living with their women. I'm not living with any woman, but I am a independent, well-capable black man and gainfully employed. You know, these things are actually true. You know, and it's not one in a million. You know, and I think that's one of the problems that we definitely have in this community, where we don't take into account that there are a pool of men that these women are frustrated. These women are having these issues, but there are a pool of men out there who are available, who can provide the life that you claim that you want, that you claim that you need, and so on and so forth. I rarely hear these women making these plans to actually deal with those kinds of guys.
So I want
There's a lot of nerds out there that are people that you would consider nerds that
man,
would to make your life better than it ever could be. There's a lot of bus drivers out there, you know, and it's
that's
seriously
another thing too. Blue collar guys,
stop sleeping on men with trucks.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
That's what they say in Atlanta. If he's making $120,000 a year, he got a truck. You know,
I got a truck.
That's what I'm saying.
So the JR,
I don't have a truck.
Our resident contrarian here. The JR says it isn't a hoax. The internet is ahead of what's going on off the internet. That's bullshit. It is.
I was about to say that's the exact opposite. That's
right.
the exact opposite of the truth.
Like what goes on here, the dysfunctions, the bullshit, the gender wars is not the real world. It goes on here. People thrive doing that here. But if any one of us on this panel went out again, I said before, to a lounge, to a restaurant or a bar, there are many people of color doing the damn thing, nice bank accounts, nice families, are raising their children, very functional. That's the real world. This shit here is not real. It is a hoax. That's why the pick-me's are raising their hands in the chats, and the men are saying in the chat, women ain't shit and they want submissive, and the pick-me's are saying I'm submissive, and nobody's looking at each other. This is not real. It is not real. This is not life. I don't know people that act like this in my world, in my life. I'm sure you guys can say the same. I don't have a slew of men in my contacts that are defeatists and say, you should hold women accountable. None of my male friends talk that way. None of my female friends are pick-mishas. They doing their damn thing. So this isn't the real world. And you don't have to be a celebrity or wealthy to have a good network of people. Like, honestly, this was new to me. This reminds me of being back in the Bronx when I was 16, them dudes that stood on the corners and the girls that would be their baby mamas. Like, if anything, y'all are going to get left behind. All you women got to be held accountable. Y'all are going to get left behind. And the guys that are doing the thing are going to find women and they're going to be married, okay? And they're going to have great lives. Same thing with the women who are not online. Well, black men ain't shit. I don't have women in my life that way, but those women are also going to be left behind, and it's going to be a smorgasbord of dysfunctional people saying nobody good exists. I think it's archaic, honestly. So I don't know what you're talking about. This is the future and it's advanced. No, these motherfuckers there's a cesspool.
Well, Jen, and I'm, like I said, I try to read. This is why I can't be coming to you. This is why I don't stay off your pages, man. Because you get caught up, and then it's 2 hours later. And then it's 2 hours later. If we've noticed anything, those of us who are really paying attention to the Elon Musk Twitter situation, who reads beyond the headlines, the reason why that deal is falling through is because Twitter is claiming that 5% of the accounts are bots. Elon Musk is saying up to half. So the internet, up to half. Elon Musk is saying up to half of the accounts on Twitter are bots.
I agree.
The fact is, you're talking about things going viral, or I work in marketing. I can, if you had 30 minutes to an hour, I could explain how to trend something on any social media platform for you. I can show you how to make anything go viral. I can show you this is not a science. It is not an art. It is a science to sending things viral. It's simply a matter of understanding the algorithm you're dealing with. This is not the real world. This is marketing on a grand scale. I'll tell anybody, it's like watching Westworld You know, it's like Westworld, but you know, take out all of the cool action sequences, you know, and the gratuitous sex scenes. You know, it's not hard to manipulate data. It's not
Look,
hard
listen.
to manipulate data. It's just not. And
Look,
and
listen.
all you have to do is look at how many people have a Ukraine flag flying somewhere in their neighborhood. How many people ride by and can't find Ukraine on a map,
Now
but
they
will
say
tell
it,
you that
seriously.
Ukraine is somehow important to your life. It's not
Yeah.
difficult.
And you see how, Jabari, you see how it's amazing. You see how it comes and goes. Like nobody gives a damn about the Ukraine this week. And something I'm fascinated about, a black man ran away from the police a couple weeks ago, got shot 60 times, got shot at 60
Seriously.
times. A black man a couple weeks ago ran from the police unarmed, got shot 60 times in the back, running away. I have not seen one Black Lives Matter post. I have not seen his name all up and down my timeline. I have not seen his name on t-shirts. When I tell you crickets, to the point where I had to make a Facebook post. I was like, are you guys over the faux outrage? Because a black man just got shot at 60 times and none of you are talking about it.
Oh, they was talking about Ray J at the verses.
It
was talking about Ray J at the verses. They ain't had no time.
They're talking about the verses.
Well,
so
yeah.
Prove what Jabari is saying. I don't know what does. They pick and choose what to make go viral. We do not. They do it.
I will attest to what Jabari is saying because I'm a software engineer and I've worked in marketing for well up to 2008. And what happens is that the marketing guys, they sit down with us, they give us their perspective, the things that they want to do, and they say, okay, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we make this happen? And we basically say, yeah, this can work, that can work. This is how we're going to do it. And you know, I mean, as a software engineer, I tell people all the time, you know, yeah, there's this romanticizing of our, you know, our profession because of the money you can make. But at the end of the day, you're pretty much an economic hitman. And what I mean by that is that you are trained to create situations and applications and so on and so forth to steal people's attention from you, thereby stealing their money. You know what I mean? Taking their money and, you know what I mean, and essentially just you're essentially trained to create situations where people are just absorbed and they're locked into this world where just they're in this constant spin cycle of content and data and things going on to the point where they can no longer think anymore because everything is just moving so fast. Because it's like the moment that we'll use the young man who was shot 60 times, the moment that they even think about or even mourn or take into account that happened, it's just like, boom, here comes something else. Here comes something, you know what I mean, something fresh. And they have no time to really think about these things. So what happens is that people are just, they're no longer thinking per se about what's happening. They're just experiencing what's happening. You know what I mean? They're just experiencing the content that's just constantly being thrown at them. And in between that, they're being sold something. And they don't even know they're being sold something. You know what I mean? The marketing guys, they sit down and, you know what I mean, they give us our vision, their vision and so on and so forth. You know, and we say, okay, let's go to work. Let's make it happen.
I have a question for Jabari because I'm not up to speed really quickly. Jabari, is the reason, because I don't know, is the reason why Elon is backing out is because it wasn't what he thought it was, and it's 50% are bots? Is that why he's like, nah, y'all ain't gonna give me?
Yeah, that ain't the real reason.
What's the real reason?
Tesla in stock is dropping.
Right. He intentionally offered a large enough amount for Twitter to open up their books. I mean, that's what the $44 billion buy was about.
Yep.
No one thought Twitter was worth anywhere near 44 billion. If you look at their market value, if you look at the value of their stocks versus their revenue, their stock before Elon Musk got involved was already trading at 144 times their revenue. The PE ratio was over 144. And you want a PE ratio to be as close to 1 as possible. Their PE ratio was over 144. So he came in with that offer, $50-something a share, because he had it. And I believe that if Twitter was what they said it was, he would have paid that, because the potential in Twitter would have been astronomical. But what it turned out to be was a paper tiger. And if 50% of the accounts are bots, that means that it wasn't even worth the 12 million, which was the market capitalization at the time of his offer. That means it was inflated to the point where it wasn't worth what its value, what its price was when he came on board. What's going to end up happening? Elon Musk is going to end up buying Twitter for something along the line. This is just my guess. Now, I'm not saying this 100%. I'm guessing Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter for something along the lines of 20 billion. I don't even think it's going to be 30. I'm thinking like the lines of 20 billion.
I think that Twitter is going to concede. They're going to probably concede that maybe they have 5, maybe 10% are bots. They're going to come to that. He's going to agree to that. I think that's what they're going to find.
I think the cat is out of the bag on Twitter. I think he's brought attention already to how overvalued Twitter was before he even got in the conversation, which is why AJ was talking about TikTok, and they'll do anything that generates revenue. Some platforms aren't about generating revenue. Twitter was not about generating revenue. It was about controlling the conversation. Yep. TikTok is not about generating revenue. TikTok is about controlling the masses. It's the shiny object, which is why in China, which is where TikTok is based, Chinese people are only allowed to be on TikTok, and it will cut off. The app will cut off after 2 hours.
So the people that made the app,
control.
So the people that made the app, the home of the app, they don't even allow their people on there, but
for more than 2 hours a day.
Jen, social media is very
kids are only allowed on for an hour a day.
Jen, social media is very controlled outside of America. That social media is very controlled outside of America.
Information is on lock outside of America.
It's very, and it's for a reason. And I like to say something. Those bots had to be there. Okay, those bots had to be there. And those bots had to be there because some form of traffic had to be created, and some form of traffic always has to be created on these social media sites, because most of these social media sites don't make any fucking money. Okay, so they tell us, most of the times, the engineers to create these bots in order to create this fake traffic. It's the equivalent of buying YouTube subscribers. It's the equivalent of buying streams on Spotify. Hell, it's the equivalent of bumping your fucking numbers when you're running for office. Okay, because what social proof moves the needle. Okay, Now, whether or not it's fake or real, nobody gives a shit. They just basically need to make sure that the needle is moved, so people basically follow suit.
Well, that's how when you create your bots, businesses own a lot of these bots. This is what we don't acknowledge. And AJ, I have most social media platforms because of my business. I have to have it for my business. But corporations own a lot of the bots. Governments own a lot of the bots. And you trend items with traffic, and you overload the traffic with bots, which is what I was talking about earlier. It's just it's a simple case of moving bots, hitting certain keywords, hashtagging, and using your bots to hashtag something. If something hashtags 5 degrees, that means if it's hashtagged by 5 unique users, and they can be bots, that's when it kicks in the registry. That's when it kicks in the algorithm. The algorithm starts paying attention. The 5th degree that it is hashtag, when a hashtag is retweeted, or when and this is for Twitter and TikTok, the 5th degree is what triggers the algorithm to pay attention to you. Then after the 5th, it's just a question of moving numbers. And the way you get something to trend is to trend it in an area first. You try to get it to trend in a city. You do it, you trend in an area of a city. Once you get it trending in an area, all you have to do to make that trend jump is once it's trending in an area, have someone else trend it 5 degrees in another area, and it automatically pops into that algorithm, trending at the same level that is trending in the previous era. Generally speaking, items don't trend from New York to Mayberry. They'll trend from Mayberry to New York, despite what people think. If you look at where the trends start, the bots always pop up in small to mid-sized cities, and then it'll trend there, and then it'll trend in a larger city, and the next thing you know, it's trending in a major city.
So let me
that's actually how you move the algorithm and how you trend anything on a social media platform. You know, I gave you guys the nickel version of it.
Jabari, before we get out of here, I want to ask some short yellow bus questions, okay?
Okay.
before we wrap up and go back to the topic, because I want you guys to end on the topic. But first and foremost, so when something is trending, say on TikTok, right? Chris Brown drops a song, it's getting spins because everybody's doing the dance steps to that song. Who controls that? Is it the kids making it go viral? Is it the bots? Is it TikTok itself? Who's making that go viral? Do the children have the power? The ones doing
the record companies. The record companies.
How so?
Because they have the bots. That's where the bots are. And you get one kid, you can get one. You can find one kid, and then you follow you follow what I said. You follow what I just said. You take one and you implement the science, because this isn't art. It's not difficult. I mean, it's not easy, but it's if you have sufficient bots, which companies do, which governments definitely do, you can move the needle. You can force the algorithm's hand. I mean, that's just how it works.
So because I did a gig recently, a fitness gig. And usually back in the day, I would go in and do a fitness gig and it's like, oh, just do this print, or let's just get this audio, or let's just get this visual. Now it's like, we need you to do these TikTok trends with the product, which is crazy to me, because before it was like, oh, I'll go in, I'll say these lines. They're like, no, we have a list of what's trending on TikTok. We need you to do that holding the product. And I found that amazing, because I was like, what? But so you're saying that companies like that bought bots?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now let's go a little further before we wrap. Kevin Samuels, did he blow up to 1 million? Oh, Thunder and Lightning, whenever you say that name. Did he blow up to 1 million followers just because he was that good, or was it by design on YouTube? Or is YouTube like, oh, we're gonna make this person, the popular person? Or was it just he was just that good? What's your opinion on someone blowing up like that?
You mean? I think some of those were bought. I think a number of those subscribers were bought, because you got to think about it. If he reached that, look at it like this. Look at it like this, man. If from our perspective, in our little ecosystem, Kevin Samuels was somewhat famous. But outside of that, I don't know who the hell he was. But at least from the perception of it, he could probably get away with saying like, yeah, I have 1 million, 1 million followers and so on and so. I have 1 million subscribers, so on and so forth. When when in actuality, maybe he had half, maybe he had less than half. Who knows? But what I'm saying is that once you reach a certain degree of notoriety, then yeah, you can play around with the numbers and no one really questions it so much.
Right.
Because it's like, well, he is kind of popular. So maybe that is, the real number. As opposed to if someone really isn't popular like that and they have a ridiculous number and there's not that much engagement, then it's obvious like, okay, well, someone actually doctored it. Before I end on that, I just want to say one thing. Jen, yeah. I know I got some guys in the music industry, and he was telling me, like, I've been out the game for so long, there's certain things I just don't even know. He was telling me that one of these, singing competition shows, a kid, wins. And, he places first place, he's big, blah, 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 so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And before he's expecting to go to the label for them to sit down and discuss contract, you know what I mean, get his budget, yada yada, so on and so forth. And they're like, yeah, before we do all that though, why don't you just go on TikTok and get hot and we'll see what happens. Right after he won the competition. Right after he won the competition. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they tell him, go on TikTok, get hot. If you pop, then come back and we'll see if we can give you an advance. So yeah, TikTok in the music industry right now, that's like imperative.
Even in the film industry, like I did a gig where it's like, depending on who's following who, you get hired now. I want to touch on
Wow.
I want to touch on oh yeah, because I gave them free game because it was like, yeah, we hired her. She had 3 million followers. I was like, you really think that girl has 3 million followers? Like, you got, right? They also said, I also recommend this film called Fake Famous. It's on HBO Max. Fake Famous is amazing. They take like 3 people who are not popular and they build them up to be popular. Also, big names like the Kardashians, like they're popular, but they're not 300 million followers.
Right.
So even they buy fake followers to blow it up. Sure. And I want to read this to you guys because I peep game. Jabari, you probably know about this. I'm monetized on Reels, right? Instagram Reels. I want you to hear how many spins they want me to get in order to pay out. Okay. If I post a reel, they want me to get, listen to this, 11 million views and they'll give me $1,200. Did you hear what I just said? They want my reel. Wow. Though I'm not famous, they want me to get 11 million views. 11 million views, and they will give me as a bonus $1,200. So Jabari, you can imagine these kids are desperate now online trying to get 11 million views because they're thinking, oh my God, all I need is 11 million views and they'll give me $1,200. But it is impossible. A Kardashian could not, Beyonce couldn't get 11 million views within 30 days. But the average kid is thinking, I need that $1,200. So I'm going to do 11 million views. And the time the children are spending on these machines is insane. But it's like, China's like, nope, not over here. But America's like, yeah, live and die on that bitch. We don't care. We'll give you $1,000 if you could get us 11 million views. So I just wanted to read that so you guys know how vicious this cycle is, where they're telling you, hey, 11 million views will give you $1,000. Blood Moon is coming for y'all, and I wanted y'all to answer this real quick. She says, Black men on YouTube always own a business, but they have so much time to stay on YouTube. Gentlemen, what say you?
It's 10 o'clock where I'm at.
Yeah, it's 11:20 where I am.
Yeah, so
and Jenna tell you, like, unlike a lot, like, I don't know, I've never seen this Blood Moon person before. The only time I'm on YouTube is when Jen is on YouTube, and any other time I'm on documentaries or informationals. Everybody has outlets. Let me go ahead and tell you that, Blood Moon, in case you didn't realize this. You know, every person has outlets. I have a buddy who's worth probably more than everybody you know put together. Like, and I'm not trying to be funny. Like, this dude is genuinely wealthy. This is a 9-figure guy. And at least an hour and a half a day, he will drink, and his alcohol costs more than we probably spend in a month on food. He'll drink and watch cartoons. He watches cartoons about an hour a day. It's just how he blows off steam. It's always been how he blows off steam. Everybody does. I'm not simping for anybody. Geechee, really? Where you from, dude? Yella Geechee? Like, where are you from, dude? Like, Geechee. Like, Geechee Gullah. Where are you from? Like, we don't like Yella and Geechee. I'm sorry, that name triggered me. I apologize. No, my point is,
everybody's simping or clout chasing. I mean, it's like,
I think it's hilarious because, again, you have to drop when you drop like real numbers, like when you drop statistics, people are quiet. The ones that are serious people get quiet. But when you do raw numbers, when you actually do raw numbers, there are literally millions of people with businesses out there. I'm from Savannah, bro. Savannah, Georgia.
Right,
Real
guys.
Gullah Geechee. What I'm saying is there are millions of business owners in this country. Like millions. Most people that own a business don't own a Walmart. Most people own more like what you would think of as a bodega. But that bodega makes enough for that person to have a successful life. I'll be the first to say my marketing firm is not the Century. The Century is a marketing firm that's based out of Tallahassee, Florida. They've got like 6 or 7 offices. None of their offices are really large, but they probably do $6 million a month in revenue. I'm not them, but I do okay. And all a person has to do is Google me. Like I'm not trying to be funny. Like I'm not wealthy. I don't play that game, but I do okay. Numbers are numbers, and there are a lot of successful Black men out there. Like I think this misconception. Like I remember when I'm old enough, everybody on this panel is old enough for when the Cosby Show was out, and there were Black people out there saying Black people don't live like that. Black people, it's like, you're not gonna find a Black lawyer and a Black doctor married. There were literally tens of thousands of Black couples like that. Look up Jack and Jill if you're curious about success in the Black community. Look up Jack and Jill. Look at the graduates of Howard University, Morehouse College. These people ain't spending $100,000 to go to school for 4 years to come out and be broke. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I say expand your circle. Before you get on YouTube and look like your circle is small, I say expand your circle. Because there are a lot of people out there who are doing well with businesses. There are a lot of us out there who are doing well, who enjoy who enjoy conversation. Like I enjoy being on the panel with like Haran and I have messaged each other off of YouTube. You enjoy meeting like-minded people from other places that you otherwise never would have met. It's like I was in the military. When you're in the military, you get the opportunity to meet people. You get the opportunity to meet people that you've never met. And I've shown my face before, Blood Moon. I'm home in a wife beater laying in my bed. That's why I'm not, that's why I don't cam up, just so we're clear. But if you use my name,
you ain't got to give him that. Don't give him that energy.
No, I'm trying like, I really like to let people.
Let's bring it back home.
Let's circle this land is playing.
All I'm saying is,
if anybody's curious, we're all simping here, and we're all pandering, and we're all clout chasing, and we're all. If it makes you feel better, all of us. Well, we have no lives. This is what we do. This box right here.
Right. But I mean, I'm really like that's really one of my things, because I always try to expose, especially young Black kids, to the reality that the world is bigger than your neighborhood. That there really are extremely successful Black people out there, that there are and they're wealthy Black people in places like Africa that you would never imagine. Way wealthier than anybody in this country, by the way. Anybody Black in this country anyway. So, I mean, expand your minds. That's all I say. That's part of why I come on these panels. Expand your mind. Look up the facts behind things. Look at the statistics behind things. Because even though it may say 6%, 8%, 10%, that's 10% of 40 million. That's 20% of 40 million, 30% of 40 million. That is a ton of people. That's a ton of real individuals. So I just expand your mind, expand your circles. I say that about everybody. Travel.
Yes, travel. Reese, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, you're a simp now. Welcome to the Simp Club. Don Levon, yes, you're very late. We're out of here now. Gentlemen, can we finish on this note? Are Black men looking to be murdered by their mate? And what should women do when they encounter a man that wants to be mothered, so we can get them up out of here?
I think a number of brothers are, an uncomfortable number of brothers are doing so. I think that women need to be a little bit more, not even a little bit more. I think women need to be a lot more just hard on brothers in terms of where they are in their lives, and this is age dependent. You know what I mean? You know, if the brother in his 20s, and you know what I mean, he clearly still has potential, but he's focused, he's driven, he's going where he needs to be. Then you know what I mean, yeah, that's a train you can hitch on to, and so on and so forth. But if he's subdued in his mid 40s, damn near 50s, and you just hear, you know what I mean, just struggle coming out of this dude's neck, out of his mouth. Just don't fall into the idea of picking up strays. And that's a lot of things. And a lot of times, I think that's what a lot of these sisters do. They like picking up strays. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. That's just how I see it.
I have. Send him right back.
Yes, ma'am. Your strays look like Thor, but you know what I mean. That's another discussion in itself.
That's why I got caught up. Mark Moore, it's scrolling on the bottom. It's On the Block with Jen. Cash App On the Block with Jen. On the Block with Jen on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. On the Block with Jen at Gmail. Please hit that like and subscribe and the notification bell. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Jabari, what say you? Everybody else, what say you are Black men looking to be mothered by their mates, and what should women avoid?
I don't think any man is looking to be mothered by their mate. I think no. Notice that the word I used.
He said man. He said man.
Not a male.
Okay, I was about to say, Jabari,
you're
leaving, and I'm about to fight you. Okay.
A man, a real man is not looking to be mothered by anybody except the woman that gave birth to him. So take from that what you will. If you are with a mama's boy or a man who is, or a male who is looking to be mothered, and you constantly encounter that, it's because you're mothering men. If you're raising your sons like that, stop. Put them on a sports team and let the coach, you know, be a male influence. This is one of those self-perpetuating downward cycles that we have to break. It goes along with the denigration of the minority family. Until we address that root cause, this issue is going to continue, and it's going to continue to get worse. And I'm done.
Thank you so much, Jabari. Damien, what you got for the ladies, and what do you think about disgusting man children? Really quickly, super chat break. Necessary Evil coming through with the smoothie super chat.
That's what's up.
She says many are disguising it as wanting a submissive woman. That's what I said earlier. That was that watch jazzy shit. That's what submissive is not, you know what I mean? Cutting off all four corners off of his sandwich and patting him on the booty till he goes to sleep. No. Damien, what say you so he can get out of here?
Now I'm gonna make it real short and sweet. Like men, like model manly behavior, manly show leadership attributes. Women acknowledge when a man is doing that, and show your kids that, hey, you don't have to be mothered, but you will get the recoup the benefits if you model leadership. If you are displaying leadership attributes, modeling leadership, creating a plan of long-term success for the family, you don't have to worry about looking for the mothering you, because a woman would want to give you those things that come along with being a leader. That's all.
Hello. And when women see these memes online, you ain't a real one if you don't want me when I'm living in a cardboard box. What do you think about it? What should women do when they read stuff like that?
I mean, it's the thing, they should recognize the manipulation. Basically, like I said before, recognize that this person has probably realized that he's failed in establishing a plan of success for himself. So he therefore can't have a plan of success for a family going forward, and just be like, you know what? keep it pushing. It's just one of those things. If, like I said, we all fall down and we all may need a minute to kind of get ourselves back together. But if they, like how Drake said, don't be down so much that it starts to look up, where you think that, oh, any little thing is progress. So recognize that if somebody if he has no plan to plan for the future of you and to protect and provision for you, just keep it pushing, because all you're going to do is waste time, and then what's going to happen is your best years will have been out past you, and then you be one of those women calling KS talking about, why can't I get a man? I know I'm 35, 40 with 3 kids by 8 big mamas, and then somebody be talking reckless to you and you be wanting to shoot them. So
that's fair enough. Fair enough, gentlemen. Thank you so much again. This was a dope stream. Y'all
it's always a pleasure.
And let's do this again, ladies. You heard it here first. Okay, we have some men telling you what to do and what not to do. Don't say that they don't care. All right. Sorry for everybody that came late. I gotta go. I'm trying not to do past 2 hours now. Okay, because it's a lot. Thank you so much for the super chats and the support. Check out my last stream as well. It was powerful. It was fire. Okay, it was fireworks. And we'll see you tomorrow again. If you have something you'd like me to dissect with my panel, or you'd like to join my panel, on the block with Jen at Gmail. Doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. It means I'll consider it. All right, guys.
Cool.
Good night. Thank you so
Take
much.
care. Bye.
Bye. Guys, hit that like and subscribe on your way out, and that notification bell. There are thousands of us going live, and you don't want to miss me. And I love when you guys are in the room early. We left another one unscathed. We got a little triggered, but we brought it back. Thank you for being here. You know how I feel about y'all already. Good night, mi gente. Thank you, Code Red. Last super chat of the night. Thank you so much. Bye, Tristan. And I'm out, guys. Gave you a little something for a Monday.